Alright, the Game 2K2 here once again, and the reason why I'm appearing on camera, among really poor lighting, I don't do this very often, but the reason why I'm appearing in front of the camera is because I'm here to kick off a new portion of the show, which I like to call the AVGN Retrospective. This is where I take a look at the games that James Rolfe, aka the Angry Video Game Nerd, has played over the 7-year run of his show. Obviously I can't play them all. A lot of his games are collector's items and they're really tough to find. For instance, Cheetah Man, which is just an insane game to find. It's really expensive. But the reason why I'm doing this is because last month I did a tribute episode to him where I reviewed Back to the Future, and that was so much fun, and I really want to do more of that. And I really want to go back and see if these games are as bad as James says they were. Because obviously, you know, some games are really bad, some games aren't. Depends on our particular tastes, and I'm here to see whether they're really as bad as James says they are. But yeah, what we're going to be kicking this portion of the show off with is a game that I never really heard of until James did it on his show, and that's Dick Tracy.
Okay, so this is Dick Tracy, and again the question is it as bad as the Angry Video Game Nerd says it is? Well, let's find out. The gameplay has you going through a few cases, and you have to gain clues and go through bad guys to solve them. Each of the clues goes into your notepad. You also get mug shots of the criminals you interrogate and arrest throughout the game. I would tell you what the cases are, but in all honesty, I haven't got the faintest clue. I couldn't even get past the first damn case in this game! The gameplay seems simple enough. You go through an overhead driving level to get to one of the destinations, and you have to go into one of the buildings to either collect clues or interrogate and arrest enemies. You'd think that would be easy enough, but no! This game puts so much in the way of doing any of those things. I don't mind facing enemies, but everything is just really distorted with this game. Whenever you're in the driving stage, you have to face snipers. I don't mind the challenge, but you can never prepare yourself for them because you can barely see them. They don't even look like snipers, they look like green light poles. It's also tough to tell how to avoid them. Most of the time when I do avoid their shots, it's by pure luck. Actually driving the car is another story. Navigating around is a problem because you have to constantly turn. You just can't simply push left or right to turn. Your car has to be in the right spot in order to turn, so just simply turning the vehicle is not enough. Also, getting around this city is a complete pain. The mugshots of each enemy tells you where they are, but how to find these places is really hard. There's no map in this game. Even after playing this game for hours, I still couldn't memorize where things were. Going into the building is an even bigger pain in the ass. You face both armed enemies and unarmed enemies, and just to make your gaming experience even more interesting, you can't shoot the unarmed enemies. Every time you hit unarmed enemies with the gun, you lose a bit of health. So you have to punch the unarmed enemies and try to shoot the armed ones. In order to do this, you have to scroll through your inventory list, which is on top of the screen. You hit the select button to scroll through it. It gives you the option of either selecting fist or your handgun. Good luck mastering this. I played for 3 hours and still couldn't master it. The punching, however, is rather amusing because there are two types of punches. You have the regular punch and then the super punch. The super punch comes from a boxing glove symbol that appears in some of the destinations. When you hit somebody with the super punch, they fly all over the place, which sometimes causes them to kill some of the other enemies in the level. So that's a cool feature, and it's hilarious to look at. Punching is one thing, but I kept forgetting to switch out the handgun from my fist every time I faced an unarmed enemy, and I would forget to switch to the handgun with armed enemies. I would use my fist for both, but just like the snipers while driving, it is insanely hard avoiding the armed enemies. Sometimes if I run fast enough, I could avoid them, but 95% of the time I just couldn't stop getting hit. They shoot from above you, they shoot from right in front of you, they sometimes shoot standing up or kneeling down. You can easily duck under the ones in front of you that are standing. You can duck down and shoot them, but the ones kneeling are almost guaranteed to hit you, because for some reason you just can't jump over the damn bullet. You can jump over the enemy fine, but you can't jump over the bullet for some reason. Also, getting up to the armed enemies when they are high up is tough because the game has some bad technical problems, especially when jumping on objects or walking upstairs. The game has moments where you'll be next to a staircase, but you won't be able to climb up them. There are also moments when you want to simply pass by the stairs, and that's when you actually climb them. It's just a really big pain in the ass. The designers also took the liberties on putting stairs that you can't climb in the destinations. There are the big staircases that you can climb, then there are these black staircases that are just there for show. That is really aggravating. Also, let's not forget that there's only one life in this game. Once you die, it's game over. However, there is a possible way to continue the game from where you left off, but it's only if you made it to the second case. That makes no sense whatsoever. You can continue every case except for the very first one, which is where I'm sure a lot of gamers got stuck. However, if you're one of those lucky gamers that made it to the second case, not only am I extremely jealous, but to continue, you go to the main menu and you go to the continue selection. And from there, it will lead you to a room with the safe, and you have to put in the correct combination to continue from where you left off with full health. Each case has a different combination. However, I've learned that you can start the second case this way. While there is no code for the first case, you can put in the second case's combination and start the second case. However, I couldn't stand the second case, and I can't imagine anyone wanting to play this game any time after the first case. The second case has more snipers, more enemies in the buildings, so that 4 stars of life goes away rather quickly. And I know there are hearts for health in this game, and I've seen how James increased his health with them, but for some reason I couldn't do it on the Retron FC loader controller, and I have no clue why. Makes me wish I really had a regular NES to play my games on. I guess I can talk about the graphics for a brief second. It looks okay for an NES game. It's a very colorful game. The environments are at least cool to look at, which is at least saying something. So overall, is it as bad as the Angry Video Game Nerd said it was? Hell yes! I'm stunned I played this game for 3 hours. I died so many times in those 3 hours that I lost count. There are 5 cases in the game, and I could only see part of the first 2. That's how bad this is. Well everyone, that's it for now. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you next time.